A collection of poems by G.K. Chesterton. The Convert, poem by G.K. Chesterton. After one moment when I bowed my head and the whole world turned over and came upright, and I came out where the old road shone white, I walked the ways and heard what all men said, forests of tongues like autumn leaves unshed, being not unlovable but strange and light, old riddles and new creeds, not in despite, but softly, as men smile about the dead, the sages have 100 maps to give, that trace their crawling cosmos like a tree. They rattle reason out through many a sieve, that stores the sand and lets the gold go free. And all these things are less than dust to me, because my name is Lazarus, and I live. The Donkey, poem by G.K. Chesterton. When fishes flew and forests walked, and figs grew upon thorn, some moment when the moon was blood, then surely I was born. With monstrous head and sickening cry, and ears like errant wings, the devil's walking parody, on all four-footed things, the tattered outlaw of the earth, of ancient crooked will, starve, scourge, deride me, I am dumb, I keep my secret still. Fools, for I also had my hour, one far fierce hour and sweet, there was a shout about my ears, and palms before my feet. Cyclopean, poem by G.K. Chesterton. A mountainous and mystic brute, no rein can curb, no arrow shoot, upon whose doomed deformed back I sweep the planets' scorching track. Old is the elf, and wise men say, his hair grows green as ours grows gray. He mocks the stars with mired hands, high as that swinging forest stands. But though in pygmy wanderings dull, I scour the deserts of his skull, I never find the face, eyes, teeth, lowering or laughing underneath. I met my foe in an empty dell, his face in the sun was naked hell. I thought, one silent, bloody blow, no priest would curse, no crowd would know. Then cowered, a daisy, half concealed, watched for the fame of that poor field, and in that flower and suddenly, earth opened its one eye on me. The Ballad of God-Makers, poem by G.K. Chesterton. A bird flew out at the break of day from the nest where it had curled, and ere the eve the bird had set fear on the kings of the world. The first tree it lit upon was green with leaves unshed. The second tree it lit upon was red with apples red. The third tree it lit upon was barren and was brown, save for a dead man nailed thereon, on a hill above a town. That night the kings of the earth were gay, and filled the cup and can. Last night the kings of the earth were chill, for dread of a naked man. If he spoke 2 more words, they said, the slave is more than the free. If he speak 3 more words, they said, the stars are under the sea. Said the king of the east to the king of the west, I wot his frown was set. Lo, let us slay him and make him as dung, it is well that the world forget. Said the king of the west to the king of the east, I wot his smile was dread. Nay, let us slay him and make him a god, it is well that our God be dead. They set the young man on a hill, they nailed him to a rod, and there in darkness and in blood they made themselves a god. And the mightiest word was left unsaid, and the world had never a mark, and the strongest man of the sons of men went dumb into the dark. Then hymns and harps of praise they brought, and incense and gold and myrrh, and they thronged above the seraphim, the poor dead carpenter. Thou art the prince of all, they sang, ocean and earth and air. Then the bird flew on to the cruel cross, and hid in the dead man's hair. Thou art the son of the world, they cried, speak if our prayers be heard. And the brown bird stirred in the dead man's hair, and it seemed that the dead man stirred. Then a shriek went up like the world's last cry, from all nations under heaven, and a master fell before a slave, and begged to be forgiven. They cowered for dread in his wakened eyes, the ancient wrath to see, and a bird flew out of the dead Christ's hair, and lit on a lemon tree. Modern Elfland, poem by G.K. Chesterton. I cut a staff in a churchyard copse, I clad myself in ragged things. I set a feather in my cap that fell out of an angel's wings. I filled my wallet with white stones, I took 3 foxgloves in my hand, I slung my shoes across my back, and so I went to fairyland. But lo, within that ancient place, science had reared her iron crown, and the great cloud of steam went up, that telleth where she takes a town. But cowled with smoke and starred with lamps, that strange land's light was still its own, the word that witched the woods and hills spoke in the iron and the stone. Not nature's hand had ever curved that mute unearthly porter's spine, like sleeping dragons' sudden eyes, the signals lured along the line. The chimneys thronging, crooked and straight, were fingers signaling the sky. The dog that strayed across the street seemed four-legged by monstrosity. In vain I cried, though you too much, the new time's desecrating hand. Through all the noises of a town, I hear the heart of fairyland. I read the name above a door, then through my spirit pealed and passed. This is the town of thy own home, and thou hast looked on it at last. Elegy in a Country Courtyard, poem by G.K. Chesterton. The men that worked for England, they have their graves at home, and birds and bees of England about the cross can roam. But they that fought for England, following a falling star, alas, alas for England, they have their graves afar. And they that rule in England, in stately conclave met, alas, alas for England, they have no graves as yet. For a War Memorial, poem by G.K. Chesterton. Suggested inscription probably not suggested by the committee. The hucksters haggle in the mart, the cars and carts go by, senates and schools go drowning on, for dead things cannot die. A storm stooped on the place of tombs, with bolts to blast and rive, but these be names of many men, the lightning found alive. If usurers rule and rights decay, and visions view once more, great Carthage like a golden shell, gape hollow on the shore. Still to the last of crumbling time, upon the stone be read, how many men of England died, to prove they were not dead. The Rolling English Road, poem by G.K. Chesterton. Before the Roman came to Rye or out to Severn strode, the rolling English drunkard made the rolling English road. A rolling road that rambles round the shire, and after him the parson ran, the sexton and the squire. A merry road, a mazy road, and such as we did tread, the night we went to Birmingham by way of Beachy Head. I knew no harm of Bonaparte and plenty of the squire, and for to fight the Frenchmen I did not much desire. But I did bash their bagonets because they came arrayed to straighten out the crooked road an English drunkard made, where you and I went down the lane with ale mugs in our hands, the night we went to Glastonbury by way of Goodwin Sands. His sins they were forgiven him, or why do flowers run behind him, and the hedges all strengthening in the sun? The wild thing went from left to right, and knew not which was which, but the wild rose was above him when they found him in the ditch. God pardon us, nor harden us, we did not see so clear, the night we went to Backenburn by way of Brighton Pier. My friends, we will not go again, or ape an ancient rage, or stretch the folly of our youth to be the shame of age, but walk with clearer eyes and ears this path that wandereth, and see undrugged in evening light the decent inn of death. For there is good news yet to hear and fine things to be seen, before we go to paradise by way of Kensal Green. A Ballad of Suicide, poem by G.K. Chesterton. The gallows in my garden, people say, is new and neat and adequately tall. I tie the noose on in a knowing way, as one that knots his necktie for a ball. But just as all the neighbors on the wall are drawing a long breath to shout, "Hooray!" the strangest whim has seized me. After all, I think I will not hang myself today. Tomorrow is the time I get my pay. My uncle's sword is hanging in the hall. I see a little cloud all pink and gray. Perhaps the rector's mother will not call. I fancy that I heard from Mr. Gall that mushrooms could be cooked another way. I never read the works of Juvenal. I think I will not hang myself today. The world will have another washing day. The decadents decay, the pedants pall. And H.G. Wells has found that children play, and Bernard Shaw discovered that they squall. Rationalists are growing rational, and through thick woods one finds a stream astray, so secret that the very sky seems small. I think I will not hang myself today. Envoy. Prince, I can hear the trumpet of Germinal, the tumbrils toiling up the terrible way. Even today your royal head may fall. I think I will not hang myself today.